Looking at page 32 of your journal, we see properties of the graph of f of x times equals a times x minus p times x minus q. This is in a factored form, and it's a new form that we haven't learned yet. Things to know about this form is that the x-intercepts are p and q, so p0 and q0. So you'll take the opposite of the number that's inside the parentheses, and those will be your x-intercepts. So you can plot those easily on the graph as shown in this picture. The next thing to know is how to find the axis of symmetry. To start with x, instead of doing negative b over 2a, we're going to do p plus q over 2. So you take the numbers that you got for your p and q, add them together, and divide it by 2. Once you get this number, your new x for your vertex, you would plug it in to get the y, and you'll have your vertex point, and then you have 3 points that you can plot to connect your curve. So let's take a look at the example in the notes. Now we're on page 7 of your notes packet, and you can see that I want to graph this function f of x in the form of the p's and the q's. So my p would be the -3. Remember, we do the opposite. And my q would be +1. So my x-intercepts are going to be -3, 0, and 1, 0. My axis of symmetry, to find that, I know I do p plus q divided by 2. So -3 plus 1 divided by 2. And what do I get there? I should get -1. Awesome. So my x equals -1 is my axis of symmetry, and I can go ahead and sketch that on my graph. I can also plot my x-intercepts. So for the x-intercepts, I'm going to have -3 and 1. To get the rest of my vertex, I know it starts with -1, but I have to plug in -1 to my function to get the y value. So I'll have -2 times -1 plus 3 times -1 minus 1. Go ahead and calculate what that's going to be, and we'll get our y value. You should have gotten 8 for the y value, so -1, 8 is going to be my vertex. And if I plot that on my graph and then connect my points, I'll have my parabola. I labeled everything here so that you can see we have the vertex is the top point, the x-intercepts are on the x-axis, and the axis of symmetry at the bottom here I labeled is the red dotted line. You can also note that this parabola goes down, it opens down, okay, it's reflected because there's a negative in front of the function.